how in that workspace as well can companies, I guess, and other individuals support people when people are maybe feeling overwhelmed, that we actually do see it and are able to kind of help without, like you say, asking directly questions? How can we support people to be open and be able to talk more about how they're feeling? And
I think it's a very interesting question, because it almost implies like that's the goal, when there is always this thing that I ponder in my mind in terms of where does the responsibility of the workplace start and end, and the responsibility of the individual starts and end. Because there is an element of, we're all responsible and accountable for our own well-being and our own healing and coping strategies. And then there is an element of the workplace is responsible to provide the environment where it is safe to talk about these things, and where it is, not stigmatized and not judged if you are going to choose to disclose or share your story. So I think those two things have to come together. Because I'll just give you an example. When I was working in China and in Australia, I was working, specifically in China, like 80 hours a week, every single weekend, every single night. I loved my job. My job was to offer holidays for people. Some people save years to go on these holidays, and I get to be the person, so I was really passionate about what I was doing. And so I was just working. And everyone around me was like, you're going to burn out. You're working too long. You're like risking your mental health, like, hello, but it just wasn't getting through. And whether the environment was here, there, or the other, I was myself so engrossed, and my identity had become my job, and my job had become my identity, that I was really struggling in that moment to find that distance. When I did, I broke my hand on the job, and that was like a wake-up call. And when that happened, I wish that the environment had been set up for those conversations to be had, but it wasn't. There was no discussion about, time off, reviewing the job description, adapting certain things. I mean, I was there working with one hand, typing on the keyboard. So that's going to be my point. There's an element of, we need to trust and empower people to take their own journey and to discover their own coping skills and to explore all these topics. And at the same time, I think the responsibility of the workplaces is to create that safe environment for those conversations to be had. And how do we do that? Well, we just start, just start. Have discussions, host talks like this, host training sessions. Then obviously provide resources as well, external and internal. Employee assistance program, they work in some cases, some not, but it's better to have one than none, in my opinion. Mental health first aiders, people who are trained in the organization, peer-to-peer, but also bringing in external speakers to share their stories, to make it, engaging and relatable. I remember at Expedia, I hosted a conversation with Enoch Lee. She's the founder of Therapy, mental health consultancy in China. And that conversation, in the context of Asia Pacific, where those conversations, especially at the time, were not happening at all, was absolutely instrumental, because people were like, someone that sounds, looks, is similar to me, has similar upbringing, values, culture, etc., is talking about these things. Oh, it's acceptable to talk about these things. So there's so many different activations that we can use, and that I've experimented with over the years of doing this work. But those are like very tactical things. I think the overarching theme is create the safe environment, open for the conversation, make it completely accepted and acceptable that everyone has different experiences, different coping strategies, different preferences, working preferences, and take it from there.